Thank you again for watching me today on your television screen or your computer or whatever you're watching me on. It's amazing to have a job as a guitar player, and I've really been happy that I've had this job for the last 20 or so years. And I've thought about my job sometimes and actually what it entails, what the most important thing is. And when it comes down to it, one of the most important things is that when I perform, when I get to play on stage, it's not necessarily that I play the notes perfectly. It's not necessarily that any specific musical thing. More important than all that is that I have a great time. If whatever I do is something that makes me have a really, really good time, I think that energy absolutely goes out and makes everybody else have a great time too. Now, of course, if I hit lots of wrong notes, I'm not having a good time. So that ends up being part of that larger philosophy. But if I hit a bad note, but it's like, I don't care, the rest of it's great, then everything is cool. It's all about enjoying the music when it comes down to it. So one of the things that I want to talk about today that is connected to that is the difference between being a bedroom guitar player and in contrast to being a guitar player that is comfortable with playing on stage in front of people. Not just playing with your fingertips, but playing with your whole body. When I did a tribute to The Who last year, and to play those Pete Townshend parts, he absolutely does not play guitar with his hands. He plays guitar with his whole body, his back, his torso, his legs. All these things go into playing those Who songs. It's stunning to be sort of a vessel. If you play a Who song, you'll see how it is. It doesn't feel right to just sit there and timidly play it sitting down. You have to stand up and to jump into the thing. It's very high energy and it feels great and it really transmits to an audience. One of the first times that I really got it, that I understood this, was listening to Jimi Hendrix. And really, I shouldn't say listening, because my parents gave me a couple of Jimi Hendrix albums when I was young. Thank you, Mom and Dad. That was a cool thing to do. And I liked the music. It was cool. But the thing that really got me excited was when I saw a Jimi Hendrix movie. And suddenly I could watch how he played and how he moved and how he took a very simple little bending lick, and he just shook the earth with this thing by adding a rhythm and adding so much physical force to it. And it had so much power to it. I went like, oh, that's it. That's why people keep talking about Hendrix. He's absolutely, I know he practiced in his bedroom sometimes, but I think especially in that era before you could buy a Pro Tools or a cheap digital recorder. Back then, if you wanted music, you had to play with a musician. You had to find a drummer and a bass player and a room where you could crank up, and you had to play loud, and you had to get used to standing up. So people of that era tended to be good at that kind of thing. And so I encourage you to stand up, try to find a place where you can crank up with a drummer, even a bongo player. I actually did an instructional video recently where I did a bunch of jam sessions with bongos. And it was a blast, as long as there's any kind of rhythm. It doesn't have to be super loud. It just has to be another human being playing something rhythmic or melodic, or hopefully both, and playing together and getting that live groove and getting used to making a mistake and how to get over it. So, if every time you make a mistake, all you do is undo and play again, you don't learn how to deal with it mentally when you're on stage. So these things all iron themselves out and all become very easy if you just do it a lot. Like the original pioneers of rock, Jimi Hendrix, Pete Townshend, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, even Van Halen. When I think about Eddie Van Halen sitting in a basement with his brother playing, those two playing together, they're like an instrument, the two of them together, like, musical twins, and they sound so great together. So again, if you can build that musical relationship as well, if you can find people to play with and do it over a long period of time, you'll really have magic that comes out of your guitar. I'm trying to think of some specific guitar thing that I can show you to demonstrate this. I suppose, the simplest thing would just be to take, again, a note and doing it, to contrast the two things, to contrast, I'm going to play it very perfectly with the metronome. That's kind of, maybe if you're a rocker, you're trying to play it, hard. But if you go, that just has more body to it, more physicalness, and that's really important for high energy music. I'll give you one more thing. Whenever your neck goes up, your hand should go down, and vice versa. If your neck goes down, your hand should go up. And that sort of thing is great for us. But you're ending a song, or the opposite. So, trying to make the motion as big as possible. What else can I give you with that? When you end a solo, this could be a shred solo. This doesn't all have to be big, primitive guerrilla music. You could do some terrifying thing, but the last note of it, try to send that last note off physically. If you're going, send it off. Put an exclamation point at the end of that solo. So that's it. I hope you can take some of that energy and put it into your playing. Most importantly, and this is a great motivating thing too, is try to play with other people. It'll give you a huge motivation to practice because you know that someone is listening. If you're in your bedroom and no one is listening, it's really easy to get bored, get tired of it, find something else to do. But if 7 o'clock, my drummer's showing up and I got to have this song ready. I've written an enormous amount of songs using that very specific motivation. So it's a great songwriting tool. It's a great performance tool. Get other human beings involved and have everyone listen. It'll be a glorious thing, and that will build your rock and roll skills.